to the stream today. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Hopefully, today will be the first of many tattoo related streams. Uh, I'm Illustrated Nerd. I'm one of the co founders of the Royal Nerds, which you're watching now. And I'm pretty heavily tattooed. I'm what they call a tattoo collector, which means exactly as it sounds. I'm a collector of tattoos. I collect a specific style of tattoos called new school tattoos, but I can appreciate tattoos from just about all genres of tattoo art. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some of my favorite tattoos, some of my tattoos. We're going to look at some tattoos from artists and shops in different viewers' areas. And we're going to look at those tattoos and we're going to rate those tattoos. So one thing I do want to bring up is that I'm going to have to blacken out my screen every once in a while. That's because people get tattoos in places that Twitch and YouTube probably wouldn't approve of me showing on stream. So in order to avoid getting a ban, I'm going to go ahead and have to black out my screen when I scroll so that I don't get in trouble for showing one of those dastardly nipples that everybody is so scared of. So let's go ahead and we'll start up here. So first up, we have one of my tattoos. And one thing that I want to recommend to everybody is that if you do get a tattoo that means something to you. Because too many people go out and they have a night of heavy drinking, or they feel peer pressured, and they go out and they get a tattoo because they think it looks cool or it looks funny. And while that might be fine for you, down the road you might regret that tattoo. Now, there's much less of a chance of you regretting that tattoo if you get a tattoo that means something to you. Even if the tattoo is just terrible, like the quality of the tattoo is terrible, if the tattoo means something to you, you probably won't ever fall completely out of love with it. And so that's the story of this. That's what I did with this tattoo. This is one of the tattoos. All of my tattoos mean something to me, except for the ones I got when I was young and stupid. But this tattoo means something to me. I mean, and it's not just because I'm a Ratchet and Clank fan. Yeah, I like Ratchet and Clank, but they're not my favorite or anything by any stretch of the imagination. But I wanted to get something for my son, and I didn't want to. I collect new school tattoos, which is this style, and I didn't want to get something that was just a black and gray portrait or even a color portrait like everybody gets. So what I did was I went to my son, who loves video games, and I said, "Hey, what can I get? What are your favorite video game characters?" And I'm gonna go ahead and get those tattooed and make it into a sleeve. So he gave me a list of them. Unfortunately, this is the only one I've gotten done so far, but this was the one he said that I should get done first. So this is my Ratchet and Clank. This is done by a good friend of mine who tattooed me in Virginia Beach, Virginia. His name is Tanane Whitfield. You can see his Instagram link right here. And Tanane is an incredible artist. He primarily does new school, but he is really capable across all genres. So let's go ahead and take a look at Tanane's Instagram. I've already scrolled down a little bit because there's some pictures in there that might have got me a little band hammer action. But let's go ahead and take a look at this one here. All right, so pretty self-explanatory, right? It is a Ryan Reynolds inspired Deadpool Pokemon Pikachu. I mean, the great thing about tattoos is that it lets you combine a whole bunch of ideas into one thing. Now, that can be both a good thing and a bad thing. If you go to an artist and you're like, all right, this is my idea, this is my vision. I want a tree with 17 birds in it, and I want there to be grass, but in the grass I want there to be 22 daffodils, but I want in each daffodil there to be 13 dots, and then in the air I want an airplane, and then inside the airplane I want to see in the windows, and I want to see that all the passengers are ducks. That might be your vision, but you got to realize that tattooing isn't like drawing because you're doing it with a needle. And then second of all, you've got to compress all that stuff down into a space. If you want to do it like a huge back tattoo, okay, that might work. But still, if you want the best tattoos, and this is a big tip for anybody that's looking to get a tattoo. If you want the best tattoos, come in with a general idea of what you want. Whether that be a character, whether that just be an idea, or what. So like with my Ratchet and Clank tattoo, I came in and I said, I want a Ratchet and Clank tattoo for my son. And I let the artist, in this case Tanane, I let him come up with the design. Now that doesn't mean that you should just lose your voice when it comes to the design, like you should just completely put it in the artist's hands. But you got to put trust in your artist. These guys are the guys that know how to draw. These guys are the guys that know how to tattoo. They know which drawings are going to translate well to skin. So go in and tell them, hey, this is my idea. This is what I'm trying to represent, and let them do it. Some bad ideas for going in and getting a tattoo. Going in with the latest tattoo craze, whether that be birds flying in the shape of an infinity symbol, or words with a feather, or a feather with words coming out of it. Whatever the latest trend that every single newly tattooable person is getting, avoid those. Your tattoo artist doesn't want to do them. They want to do stuff that's original. They want to bring their art to life on your skin. And if you chose the right tattoo artist, you're going to get something that is way beyond, the tattoo trend. So give your artist a little bit of freedom, or a lot of freedom, and give them a general idea. And then when they come back to you, they'll come back to you and they'll show you the sketch of what they did before you get tattooed, obviously. And at that point, if there's something you don't like, something you want to change, then you change it. I mean, that's just how you get a good tattoo. All right. So, first of my tattoos we talked about. All right. This is another of my tattoos. This one is on my left thigh. So you can see here in the bottom left, I gave the guy an idea. I said, I want to get something to represent my career field. I'm an intelligence analyst. My idea was secret squirrel, because in the intelligence community, secret squirrel means something that is hush-hush, that is kept quiet and away from the public eye. So I gave my artist, Mr. Franklin Natra, the idea, secret squirrel. And this is what he came up with. He came up with this drawing. And as you can see, it's a squirrel. And he's in the Mission Impossible scene when Tom Cruise comes down from the ceiling. And so now he's disarming an acorn bomb. Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but I like goofy. You can see the lasers on the floor. You can see the nice, in the background where the lasers are, you can see the nice glow that the lasers are casting. He's got his night vision goggles on up here. So this is what I'm talking about when I say, give your artist an idea and let them run with it. We won first place at the tattoo convention that I got tattooed at for the best tattoo of the day. And then later on, as I went to more and more tattoo conventions, this tattoo just won over and over and over. So, perfect example. Give your artist an idea and let them run with it. So, I'm going to blacken the screen here for just a second while I make sure there's nothing at the top of Frank's page that's going to get me in trouble. And let's take a look at Frank's page, see what he's done recently. Oh. All right, let me scroll down here a little bit. Yep, see, there's stuff that would have got me in trouble. So I think Frank has been tattooing less and less these days and been focusing more on illustration. But we got some good examples here. All right, let's go ahead and turn this back on. All right, so Let's go ahead and take a look at this one here. A boomkin. Perfect. Perfect. So this is for all of the WoW players out there. You guys will know what a boomkin is. Um, you can see Frank's interpretation of it. They probably just came to him and told him what a boomkin was, told him what a boomkin does, and then Frank came up with this. I mean, you can see, let's zoom in here just a little bit, how beautiful this is. So one of the things that you look for in tattoos is how crisp everything looks. Nothing looks muddled here. Everything looks nice and crisp. Nice outlines. A lot of people are afraid of using white in tattoos, but you can see he uses white here in addition with his black for outlines. Modern white ink isn't like the old white ink that turned yellow and nasty. I have white ink in many of my tattoos, and it's still white. It's not yellow and crappy. Old white ink used to turn yellow with age. So just another example of a beautiful tattoo and what you can get done when you say, hey, this is what I'd like as an idea. So here's another, as he mentions in here, here's an idea of how long a piece like this takes. This is 15 hours. And this is fully healed. So what this means is that when you first get a tattoo and you look at it, it's beautiful and vibrant and just amazing. But after a few days, if your artist didn't saturate your tattoo well, geez, I'm going to say that all day, didn't saturate your tattoo well, it's not going to look as bright and vibrant as it did when it was done. It probably won't look that bright and vibrant anyway. But this is fully healed, and look at how bright the colors are. They still pop. What that tells you is that 5-10 years down the road, that tattoo is still going to look like that. It is still going to be beautiful. All right, let's see which other ones we got here on Frank's page, because Frank's one of my all-time favorites. And Frank's tattoos always tell a story. That's what I love about them. They tell the story that the person envisioned. So balancing act, where he's going, what he's doing, or what he's hoping to find, I have no idea, but I hope his story ends well. So this is about 20 hours of work. Hey, Duck, thanks for being here. So 20 hours of work, full thigh. And you can see saturation is beautiful. It's still all healed. Now, one thing that I will point out in this tattoo is there's not a lot of black outline in this tattoo. Me personally, I prefer tattoos that have good black outlines. And that's because as colors fade, stuff can kind of become muddled together if it doesn't have a black outline, and it can be kind of hard to separate items, one item in the tattoo from another. Still a beautiful tattoo, beautifully saturated. All right, let's go back here and look at some more of my stuff here. All right, I'm sure Mage in chat can tell you what this is. Not tattoo related though, so let's move on. Okay, not one of my tattoos, but one of my favorite tattoos of all time. I don't like this brown portion up here, but the watermelon tongue. God, I love this tattoo. It's just beautiful. So this is I came across this when I was working for Inked magazine, and I took over the Instagram for a day. So what that means is for the entire day I got to control the Inked magazine's Instagram account and determine what got posted for that day. I got to feature certain artists, and I got to highlight artists that might not otherwise not get to be in the spotlight. So, as I say here, I don't know if it has an official name, but I call it watermelon mouth or watermelon tongue. And this is done by Rocky Shaw. All right, got to blank the screen real fast. Make sure I'm not showing any naughty stuff. And let's see what we have on Rocky's page here. Everything looks pretty safe here. All right, we'll turn it back on. All right, so just as you can see just from these thumbnails, beautiful, beautiful work. Rocky's over in the UK, but she does travel to the US for conventions. Let's take a look at one here. Day of the Dead. So Again, what probably happened was the client came in and said, "Hey, I want a Day of the Dead tattoo," and let Rocky do her thing, and this is what she came up with. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. You got the Sacred Heart, lots of colors. This is a combination of styles. You got the black and gray realism, you got the color realism. Just so many elements in here. It's just beautiful. It's, as you can see here, you can't really tell here, but then in the other image, when they flip it upside down, you can see at the bottom here, there's actually a skull. The top portion over here is the skull here. So this is almost like two tattoos in one. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Duck, Rocky's amazing. I've always loved her work, and I've always felt that she hasn't gotten as much attention as she deserves. Just a great artist. Let's see what else here. Here we go, a Phoenix Rising. Just beautiful. You know how hard it is to... She took the same face and she duplicated them twice. And taking the same thing, basically she has to make an exact copy of this face over here. It's just amazing. If there are subtle differences in this one to this one, they're just not going to look right, and it's going to look like two different people. So the amount of skill that goes into doing something like that, just mind-blowing. All right. Got Rocky a little feature there. Let's go on back. All right. So this is another one of my tattoos, and it's an old picture, so it's a little bit blurry, but as I said before, one of the important things when getting a tattoo is make sure it means something to you. So I spent 5 years in Germany when I was in the military, total. 3 years, one tour, 2 years on another. My son was born in Germany, and so if they're kept up, if you keep, the big thing with tattoos is if you want to keep them looking nice and crisp and vibrant, you got to keep out of the sun. When they don't have hard outlines, the colors can blend together, especially if there's like a lot of like weight gain or something like that. One of the myths about tattoos is that if you gain a lot of weight, like there'll start to be gaps in the tattoo. That's not true. The color will spread as you gain weight and as your body spreads, but some of the colors can start to bleed together as tissues start to overlap and stuff like that. But for this tattoo, I went to one of the most famous tattoo artists of all time. He's one of the founding fathers of the type of tattoo I collect, which is New School. And that's Joe Capobianco. He's based in New Haven, Connecticut. I went to him and I said, "Joe, I want something to represent my time in Germany. I know that you're very well respected at doing this particular style, which is called the pinup style." So I said, "I want a German girl." I gave him a bunch of images and I said, "Can maybe one of these images work for you?" And I can't remember the name of the model's name, but the image that he ended up choosing was a former Playboy model that had gone over to the Hofbräuhaus and dressed up in this traditional German wear, which is called a Dindel. And that's the image he chose. He interpreted it, and I ended up getting this beautiful tattoo. I ended up working with Joe later on down the road. I translated some stuff for him from Russian into English. And we've just built over this one tattoo, we built a bond and a friendship that's lasted, almost 20 years now. It's just amazing what that type of bond can bring. Now, to be fair, if I'm gonna be fair in rating tattoos, I have to be fair about my own tattoos. So one thing that happens to people when they get tattooed is what I call tattoo delusion syndrome. And that's when you get tattooed and you look at the tattoo, and no matter how bad it is, let's say you got a portrait of your mom done, and rather than look like your mom, it looks like a beagle, you will still convince yourself that that is the best tattoo that man has ever created. I don't suffer from this. I recognize when there's a problem in my tattoo, And there is a problem in this tattoo. So take a look at it real fast, see if you can spot the tattoo. I'll give you a few seconds, and then I'll show you where the problem is. But one thing I do want to point out before I do that is, see this? See the black outline? That's the type of outline I'm talking about. And that brings me down to this finger. I hate this finger. She's got a little short, stubby finger, which I do not like. Something a lot of people don't know is hands are probably the hardest things to draw next to faces. Hands are brutally hard to draw, and they can be easily messed up. And you can see that here by this guy has decades of tattoo experience. He's done some of the best tattoos you'll ever see, and still he made a mistake. All right, I'm gonna black the screen when I go to Joe's page to make sure I don't show you guys any of those disgusting nipples. Let's see what we got here, Joe. Scroll down a bit. Joe's pictures are not great here right now. They are kind of blurry, but let's see what we got. These look like they're okay. Hey, Jay. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll start here. This is another pinup. So let's see. Butcher Babe. So the guy is probably a butcher, and he came down from Boston, where I'm at, and probably said, hey, I want a tattoo to represent my profession. I'm a butcher. I want a butcher pinup girl. And this is what he got. Beautiful tattoo, nice solid black outlines. Nice, beautiful girl, nice face. She's even got a regular size pinky. I mean, how about that? All right, let's see. Oh, here's a gaming related one. This one is obviously fresh because you can see the blood in it still. But I mean, just still, look how beautifully saturated everything is. So another key thing that you might not know if you're not into tattoos is look at the eyes. The eyes are looking in the same direction. All too often, you'll have like this eye looking this direction and this eye looking straight ahead. And so they end up looking cross-eyed. And here's another fun little detailed thing about tattoos. Tattoos should always be facing towards the inside of your body. No, you don't like the background? I'll have to take a look at it again. But tattoos should always, the characters in your tattoo, if there's a face, they should be facing inward. If they're facing outward, they're facing the wrong way. I mean, art is art. There's obviously no wrong thing to do in art, but it's kind of one of the no-nos in tattoo. Is the audio messed up for everybody or just me? I mean, just Jay. All right, let's take a look at the tattoo. Oh, the background here. Yeah, probably not crazy about that either, but it might have also been that he had an existing tattoo. It doesn't look like it because it looks like it's incorporated here, but yeah, I'm not crazy about that one either. Finger waves. I've never gotten into finger waves. I just don't really care for them. Yeah, it does. It looks like traditional Japanese finger waves. That's why I was wondering if maybe there was like a small tattoo that was back there, or maybe there was just finger waves there before. Okay, let's go back here. Quit being difficult, Instagram. All right. So this isn't one of my tattoos. This is done by a buddy of mine who lives very close to Mage. This guy his name is Ron. Ron owns the shop. This is the original art of Pete. So Pete is actually from Australia. But as you can see, he did this beautiful black and gray tattoo. Just, you can see with black and gray tattoos, saturation is still an issue. You got to make sure that the blacks are dark enough to provide contrast to everything else. But there shouldn't be any background noise. It should be quiet. But let me turn the fan off and see if that helps. But Just a beautiful tattoo. Roses. The rose actually looks like a rose. Some of the petals are imperfect, which is what you see. Skull is absolutely beautiful. Clear definition. You can see he put the highlighting right in the top of the skull there, so that if you don't do it right, it kind of looks like they have a bulb head, and it just turns out yucky. So I have Ron's page here. Ron is based in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and his this is Ron's work. This is an octopus that Ron did. As you can see, just completely beautiful. But Ron specializes in horror. There's a popping whenever my mic picks up sound. I don't know how to fix it, unfortunately. Ron specializes in horror, and he kind of does it in a style that I don't really like. He does like in a painting style. The artwork is beautiful. I just don't personally care for it. So this one here is done by Donovan White, who works out of Ron's shop. Beautiful saturation, great looking skulls. I think the arch is a little bit high on this nose here for me, but all in all, just a beautiful tattoo. All right, let's see who else. Sean. Sean is an incredible artist. I took Mage down to meet this guy. We hung out at the shop for a few hours back in 2017. We met Ron and all of his artists and just hung out. Ron's a good friend of mine, and just had a great time hanging out there. Really cool dudes. Took me around the shop, made me feel at home. Made Dave feel at home, I think. So this is a cover-up. If you know anything about tattoos, you know cover-ups are probably the hardest thing you can do in tattoos. This one, he's doing it over some old tribal, which is pretty faded, so it's a little bit easier. But taking something that's already there and incorporating into something new is just really hard to do. But you can see Sean did it absolutely beautifully. To be fair, I don't like this part of the chin, the shadowing on the chin. It kind of makes it look like she has like a dent in her chin. But for the rest of the tattoo, it's just beautiful. Let's see who else we got here. This is just a small one by, who's this one by? Brendan Angley. I don't like it. It's to me it looks blurry. The details aren't well defined. I don't know what size this is. I'm guessing it's fairly small. But if it's fairly small, then you can get away with it because it's really hard to pack detail into something really small. But in general, it just looks blurry to me. The edges aren't well defined. It's just not my favorite. All right, the tiger. In general, I really like it. There's some things about this one that I don't like. One of the things when you're doing animals or people or whatever is that you have to really pay attention to anatomical structure. Just a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and it can end up not looking like what you were actually looking for. So for me, like this tooth here in this corner of the mouth kind of just looks weird. It looks almost like the tiger had a stroke. And then these hairs just, while I like the contrast, they just seem out of place. It's almost like he has grass growing out of his head. I am just not digging it. Let's see. That one I'm not going to show because it'll get us in trouble. So let's go back here. All right. So one of the things that I did a while back was I went through each of the 50 states and I looked at who I think some of the best artists in the state were. So we started with Alabama, and this is one of the ones I came up with. As you can probably tell, I love these type of what they call color bombs, really color saturated tattoos. They often end up being weird, but these are my style of tattoos. I like new school tattoos. They're defined by their typically heavy black outline. You can see the black outline going all around. There's some um, blurring of the outline here. That can happen. The bleeding, not bleeding literally, but the ink bleeding can cause that to happen. But all in all, it's a really clean, well saturated tattoo. I think the anatomy gets a little weird down here, but all in all, just a beautiful tattoo. All right, let's see what else we got here. So to be fair to other styles, this is what they call neo-traditional, so new traditional. This is done by an artist out of Florence, Alabama. They do a lot of different birds, a lot of really beautiful birds. The bird itself is really pretty good. The anatomy looks good. Uh, I don't see any real blowouts. The the big issue for me up here is that this is probably supposed to be round. Now it can be potentially that it's the angle that the picture was taken at, but I don't see that as being round. So it's kind of a little bit wonky. If that's the next one, yeah, we'll go there. And then as far as the rose goes, it's not bad, but with it being so spread out like this, it kind of loses its definition as a rose. And then one of the other things is that when you're looking at leaves, you want to try to keep the space between the ribs on the leaves similar. As you can see, they're all really close over here, but you got some wider gaps over here. Now this is nitpicking stuff. This is obviously a beautiful tattoo that's way above the standard that most people get for tattoos. But you know, you want to be nitpicky. This is something that's going to be on you forever. All right. That's the next. I'll go to this one next, just because you asked. But all right, so I'm guessing there's some sort of meaning to this one that I don't get. I just thought it was a beautiful tattoo that was well done. There's some problems with the outline, as you can see. One of the key things you need as a tattoo artist is a steady hand, and you can see in some of the outlines how it's not even thickness all the way around, and then there's some bumps. That means that the hand wasn't perfectly steady, or that the person had to go back and do like a second pass over the tattoo. And when you do that, it's really, really hard to get the line exactly right again. So, and you can see around here how the line isn't just smooth everywhere. Oh, it's Gravity Falls. Well, I don't know about Gravity Falls, so I don't know what to say. But beautiful tattoo, also from Alabama. One of the things, if you're ever going to post on Instagram and you're going to post an artist's work or something, it's great that you're going to try to share their work and get it out there. Make sure you put their Instagram name in there so that they can get credit for it. You'll see in all these posts as I go through, there'll be a name in here that you can click on and go right to the artist page. Artists love it, and it's a real good way to help people that might not otherwise get noticed. All right, so another one from Florence, Alabama. This is just another beautiful neo-traditional tattoo. What it means, I don't know. That's probably personal to the person, the moth being attracted to the flame. But you can see it's well saturated. Everything seems to be well. It's a little blurry up here. Some of the fine details get a little bit lost. I would have also liked to see some of the smoke coming out of here, since it's coming out of the other two holes. That would just make sense. I mean, the fire. But all in all, it's still a beautiful tattoo. You could do a lot worse. All right. Doggo tattoo. Okay. Great tattoo, very creative. Obviously, the person came in. This is from Alaska. This is from Alaska Day. Person came in with a picture of their dog and said, translate this for me into a tattoo. And I think they did a great job. But as I mentioned before, the lack of an outline may lead to this tattoo not looking as great down the road. All in all, a really good interpretation. And the thing is that even if you get down the road and your tattoo doesn't look as good as it did when it got done, There's nothing to prevent you from going back and doing touch-ups. A lot of artists will do touch-ups for you fairly cheaply or free if it's within, a certain amount of time of you getting the tattoo. So definitely not out of the realm of possibility to get some things fixed if they don't look exactly like you want. I mean, it's an Archer tattoo. What are you gonna say? It is an Archer tattoo. Good tattoo. You can see some of those issues I mentioned with the line work. Some of the thicknesses aren't the same all over, but I really like how they made. You can see how they made the background a little bit blurry. That's so that the foreground stands out. I don't know if it's from the picture, the angle the picture was taken at or whatnot, but the front of the gun looks a little wonky. Lettering is absolutely beautiful. All in all, it's a great tattoo. So if you're in Alaska and want to get tattooed, there you go. So this tattoo looks really simple, right? Now these tattoos are really hard to do. Um, just a great fun tattoo. Obviously, it's a Mario tattoo. Person probably came in and said, "I want a Home Sweet Home tattoo in this style," and I think they ended up getting a pretty awesome tattoo. I mean, if you're a gamer, you got to appreciate this. All right, let's see what's next. All right, here we go. Josh